Hello everyone and welcome to round 9 of the URL-GT1 Championship. We are in Brazil at Interlagos, and as so many times in Formula 1, the titles can be decided here at the Interlagos circuit. But first let's have a look at the qualifying results here. Qualifying was held in damp conditions, and Florian Kutz took advantage of that and took the pole with 6/10 in front of Peter Abelovsky, just in front of his teammate Robert Horvat. In AM, it was Andrei Golubnici taking the pole in front of Sandro Donadel and his teammate Chris Simpton. So in terms of championships, in Pro, Peter Abelovsky has to win the race to keep a good chance of taking the title, and Mikko Korkiakowski cannot finish the race above 13th position, so that's a challenge for Peter Abelovsky. In the AM Cup, it's Rob Timpen, who doesn't need a lot of points anymore to take the title from Andrei Golubnici, who is also still in the run. In the team's championship, LNL Racing can take the title today as well if they get a good result. So let's have a look at the highlights of this race. So here we are on the main straight of Interlagos circuit. Florian Kutz is in the left in his Saleen. On the right is the Mercedes of Peter Abelovsky, and away we go for round 9 of the URL-GT1 Championship. Everyone gets away cleanly, some bumps in the back, and Florian keeps first position. Peter Abelovsky slots in second. It's all quite clean here through turn 1. Tap on Alex Scott. That will cost him a bunch of time here. Let's have a look on the long straight here, what happens. Late braking there, and a bump on Michal Klisch, and also a crash with Greg Metcalf, Tony Ukic involved, so a bit of chaos here in turn 4. Let's see how far up these guys can get. So here's Florian Kutz, followed by the two Mercedes guys, then Mikko Korkiakowski. So he's in a good position at the moment. Here a dive from Felix Boucher for 11th position, and he gets that from Muxi Istvan. Then Sandro Donadel is just behind Andrei Golubnici, followed by Rob Timpen. So that's the top 3 in AM here on the first lap. Here's Tony Ukic, the reigning champion. He was involved in the incident in turn 4. So here's Florian finishing the first of probably 45 laps if it stays dry. Peter Abelovsky, Ethan Bassin's 5th, then Sten Mikkel Olsen and Yevgeny Leonov here going for the pass on Miguel Santiago Carao and getting it done. Here's Sandro Donadel making the pass on Andrei Golubnici, so that's Sandro Donadel in first position in the AM Cup. So Michal Klisch was right on the tail of Miguel Santiago Carao, who has a big slide here. Gets back on the track and causes Michal to take avoiding action. Probably Miguel will slow down here a bit to give Michal that position back. Let's hope this doesn't bunch things up too much. So Alex Lausch goes through, then it's Miguel, and Michal just goes through. Felix Boucher as well tries to go through, and here is Sando. This is what we saw earlier, making the pass for first position in the AM Cup on Andrei Golubnici. So Andrei is in the title hunt. He actually needs to win it because he wants to take the title from Rob Timpen this season. He's getting hounded here on the second straight by Tony Ukic and Greg Metcalf. They both go through. Let's see if Rob Timpen can take the title today. So then a couple of laps in, Peter Abelovsky stayed close to Florian Kutz, and here locking up a little bit, going a bit wide, Florian, but still keeping it very tidy here through the S's. Can Peter make a move? This is really far back. But oh, there's a slide from Florian, goes a bit wide onto the grass, and this tiniest of mistakes costs Florian P1. So Peter Abelovsky is in first. That's where he needs to be to do everything he can to keep his title hopes up. Here's Greg Metcalf in the battle with Ethan Bass, if I'm not mistaken, and Felix Boucher as well. That was very close. Tony Ukic was slicing through the field. Here he is behind Michal Klisch. So he was involved in a first lap incident, Michal as well. But they are both up to P7 and P8 at the moment. Small mistake, a bit wide here from Michal, just as his teammate Florian lost first position, but Michal keeps it nicely on the inside. Oh, can Tony make the move stick here? No, he has to brake. There's a bit of a slide here on the curbing, but he can stay close. The panels is handling very well here. If Tony can stay close enough on the straight, he might benefit from the slipstream. Purely based on power, of course, the Saleen would be quicker on the straight, but it also punches a nice big hole in the air, and the Panos is one of the lowest cars here. Going around the outside, will that work? Michal gets his braking done and blocks off the move from Tony Ukic, so Tony will have to wait to make the pass. Here we are on the next lap, and now Michal doesn't go defensive on the inside. Can Tony make it stick now? He gets his braking done nice and smooth, and Tony takes 7th position. So Peter Abelovsky was still in first. Florian Kutz fell back a bit, so he has a healthy gap, Peter Abelovsky. Then Robert Horvat in third, Mikko Korkiakowski in fourth, so he's virtually the champion of this season. Then Tony Ukic, Ethan Bass in 7th, Michal Klisch in 8th, then Yevgeny Leonov. This is just before the pit stops. Here are the Chevrolet guys. Greg Metcalf up to P12, then Felix Boucher, Alex Scott, Florin Manolace, Sando Donadel still in first position in the AM Cup, then Miguel Santiago Carao behind him, having a tough race. Angelo Gudici in 18th, then Andrei Golubnici and Rob Timpen, so Andrei still outscoring Rob for the moment. Let's see if that stays this way. So then it was pit stop time, very tricky pit entry on the brakes, through the S's, through the Armcos, and then into the pits. Mikko Korkiakowski as well was in the pits, and we saw a very big crash here, unfortunately crashing out the leader in the AM Cup and causing him to retire from the race. Sando was coming into the pits, slightly hit the wall and catched Miguel off guard, causing him to have a puncture and retiring from the race. So unfortunately no win for Sando Donadel here at Interlagos. So after the pit stops, the gaps stayed more or less the same, but the guys battling for the third podium spot were very close. Robert Horvat being hounded here by Tony Ukic, followed by Mikko Korkiakowski, and then Reinhard Berger starting from the back of the grid at the start, making it up here behind Mikko Korkiakowski, and He has no weight and a very quick car on the straight, so let's see what Reinhard can do. Tony and Robert were in a very long fight, several laps here, so let's just follow them around onto main straight. Can Tony already make a move here? The car is bottoming out a little bit. You can see the sparks flying, so not ideal top speed. Takes a wider line, and Reinhard is still quite far back from Mikko. Here is where the action is at the moment. Robert goes defensive. Can Tony go around the outside? It's also a very difficult move, but he is the reigning champion for a reason. He has to stay in fourth for the moment. But he can stay very, very close here in the panos. If he can stay this close coming up to the main straight, then he might have a good chance to pass Robert for the last podium spot. Here we are, the last turn, very important turn here. Getting the exit right onto the straight to get the best out of your power and top speed. And Tony is right on the tail here of the Mercedes. And also Reinhard Berger in the back is right on Mikko's tail, and he will have a big speed advantage considering the weight of Mikko and also the speed of the F40. So Reinhard Berger goes through in the back, and we stay with the battle between Tony and Robert. Robert was able to keep it in front here into turn 1, but there is another long straight and another passing opportunity just at the end of this straight. Tony goes for the outside line. Oh, Robert goes a little bit wide, leaves room at the apex, and Tony Ukic takes the position. So bronze medal, third podium spot for Tony Ukic. Then Reinhard Berger, he made it past Mikko Korkiakowski. Now he is challenging Robert Horvat. He has some good straight line speed as we saw, but he is on the inside line, so if Robert can keep his line, he has to slot in behind. So Reinhard up to P4. And then Mikko came up on Robert, so seems like he was going backwards a little bit. Oh, and there was a small gap and Mikko went for it. That's what champions do. If I'm not mistaken, he will be a 5-time drivers champion here at URL in the GT1 championship. So he is the reference point for a lot of drivers here. And he had a bit of a bad exit there out of the S's. And this leaves Robert Horvat through on the very, very last lap here. So Mikko Korkiakowski will finish in 6th. Here's Peter Abelovsky finishing off his last of 45 laps here around Interlagos. He will win the race with a more than 10-second gap to Florian Kutz, but it will unfortunately not be enough to take the pro title and or extend the title battle to the last race of the season next week at Sepang. But he wins here at Interlagos. Florian Kutz takes 2nd position in the Saleen. Tony Ukic in 3rd. Reinhard Berger got close but not close enough in 4th position. Robert Horvat, as we saw, got back past Mikko in 6th. Then Michal Klisch in 7th. Ethan Bass in 8th. Quite a lonely race for him here. Oh, and a big slide. But he saves it. So very well done. Alex Scott in 9th. And that's Angelo Guidici doing some donuts here. Then Miguel Santiago Carao in 11th with Felix Boucher in between them. Alex Lausch in 12th. Angelo Guidici in 13th. Rob Timpen took the win here in the AM Cup. He made an early pit stop, and he managed to jump all of the drivers, including his rival Andrei Golubnici. So here are the rest of the drivers and some retirements as well. As we saw, here are the results. So Peter Abelovsky from Florian Kutz, from Tony Ukic to round up the top 3. And then in the AM Cup, Rob Timpen, Andrei Golubnici and Chris Simpton, which means that Mikko Korkiakowski and Rob Timpen are the Pro and AM champions for Season 12 of the URL-GT1 Championship. Congratulations. The other team championship, I think, is not decided yet, so that will go to the wire next week at Sepang. So stay tuned, join us at UnitedRacersLeague.com and get racing with us. See you next week.